Hi everybody, welcome back to my Seesaw plus Canvas video series. This is episode 4 and we're going to learn about the activity library, some things that you can do with activities that you pull from the library, as well as some other places where you might find activities for your class. So last time we talked about how to make an activity and we addressed one limitation that a free account has, and that was when you are creating an activity, if you're making a draw activity on the Seesaw Creative Canvas, you're limited to 1 page. I am happy to report that if you find an activity online somewhere, whether it's the community library or Facebook or Teachers Pay Teachers, and it was created by a premium user and has more than one of those draw pages, your students still get to use all of them, which is awesome. So we are going to go to the library, and to get there you press Add and then Assign Activity. When you get to this page, you're looking at your library, so the only activity my teammate has is the one we made last time. We're going to go to the community library to find some more activities. So at the top of the community library, there are a few collections that are made by Seesaw. My teammate is a first grade teacher, so it defaults to first grade. And here are some examples of Seesaw activities for first graders that she could try out with her class. And there are a couple of other collections there at the top about remote learning and home learning. As you scroll down, there's popular posts, popular authors, recently added, other collections. And when you use this drop-down menu here, you can search through different grade levels, and there are resources from pre-K all the way through 12th grade. You can also search by subject. I am going to search in the search bar for a specific activity, and this is one that I shared in our group with our last video. And this Seesaw Tools activity with Mr. Biscuits is just awesome. And this was created by a premium user. There are 10 pages here and they're linked to each other, and it's good practice for you and your students with all of those Seesaw tools. So this little pop-up came up here and it says, like this activity, click the heart to save it so you can assign to students later. You could also assign directly from here, and that will also add it to your library. Now I'll go ahead and add this to my teammate's library because it is awesome. I'm going to click back to the community library, and I know of an activity that I think my teammate definitely needs. She has a favorite book that she uses in October called The Little Old Lady Who Wasn't Afraid of Anything. And we do sequencing with this story, and there's a sequencing activity here. Now, you can take a look at the template and see what your students are going to do. There's all of the pieces here that they will move to these boxes. Now I'm looking at this and I'm thinking of my students and what the expectations are of this kind of activity when we do it hands-on in class, and we really focus on the vocabulary. So this activity has some of what I need, but not everything, and I'm going to show you how to fix that. So I'm going to press the heart to bring this into my library, and now I'm going to copy that activity and edit it. So once I have the activity open in my library, I'll press the ... at the bottom. I'm going to copy and edit this activity. And one thing that I know my teammate loves, there's a particular YouTube video where the story is sung. So I'm going to copy the link for that YouTube video, and I'm going to add that video as a multimedia link in the directions so that her students can go back and listen to that song. So that's added to the instructions now, and I'll open those up and show you what that looks like when we have finished editing the activity. So I'm saving this, and now, oops. We're going to keep editing this activity. We are going to go down and edit the template. Now, as I was saying, we focus a lot on the vocabulary with this story, and we're using those positional words. I am going to type a couple of them in. And again, when you're box is up too far. Sometimes you don't have all the options available on your screen, so I'm going to bring it down so I can see that style box. So I can get rid of the border there and make that box smaller. I'm going to lock that in place, and I'll add one more. And of course I'd go through and put in the rest in between, but I don't want to keep you too long this time. And then our students, when it's their turn, will be able to move these pieces using the move tool. Now when your students open an activity, it defaults to the pen tool. So you'll have to remind them to switch to the move tool, or they will just draw all over the page. So I'm finished editing this for now. I'm going to press the green check and save this. And I'm going to assign this to all of her kiddos. And before I go to take a look at this in the classroom, I'm going to go back to my library. And now I have two copies of this. I have the one that I edited to make better and the one that I found. I don't need both, so I'm going to click on the one that I found, and I'm going to remove this from my library. As a free user, you are limited to 100 activities, so anytime you can get rid of something, it's a good idea to do so. So this activity has already been assigned to my class, so I'm going to go back to class, and here it is in the activities list. I'm going to go ahead and click Add Response, and will be Brian this time. Now if I click View Instructions at the top, it has the instructions here that came with the activity, but I can also click my link and go and watch an ad. And listen to my story. And then I can come back and press the X and the X again and start putting my pieces in order now that I remember what order they go in. Now Brian is finished. We're going to press the green check. He hasn't done it all, but he has put in the pieces that he remembers, and we're good to go. Now, if my teammate ran out of room in her activity library and needed to delete some things, she could go into her library, and let's say she wanted to remove this one. She can go down and remove this from her library. Delete activity. If she goes back to her class and back to her journal, Brian's response is still there. So if you delete an activity from your library, the submitted responses don't go anywhere. And if you have students who haven't completed it yet, they can still go in and complete the assignment. All that happened is that activity is no longer in your library. Okay, so there are some other places that you might find activities for Seesaw, and one of them is on Facebook. There are Seesaw Teachers groups. There's one called just Seesaw Teachers, and then there's different grade level groups. There is one for all elementary school grades and also a specific special education one, and then a middle school group and a high school group. So you can join your Seesaw Teachers Facebook page. There are great conversations here. It will tell you about new features, about trainings, and people will share the activities that they've made. So I highly recommend joining the group for your grade level. Another place you might find activities is Teachers Pay Teachers. So you can type Seesaw into your search bar. I'm going to narrow it down by grade level. And I'm also going to click free. And there are plenty of options that come up. So you can definitely grab some freebies from here. The one thing about grabbing Seesaw activities from Teachers Pay Teachers is there are two ways that creators share them. The first way, and the way it was done 3 years ago when I first started using Seesaw, was when you get an activity, you're just getting the images. And you would upload those images like I showed you yesterday with my All About Me background, and then give that to your students to work on. Or sometimes you have activities that are preloaded. Preloaded means that you get the teacher share link, you click that link, and you add the activity to your library. Seesaw became a little bit more of a big deal for everybody in the spring when our school buildings closed. So it's really blown up on Teachers Pay Teachers over the last several months. And my favorite creators are converting some of their best resources to Seesaw files. So for example, this woman has taken some of her awesome literacy stations and taken that paper format and made it something that we can use online in Seesaw. And these are preloaded, so if you were to purchase from her, you get a PDF with a link, and you click the link and save it to your activity library, and then you can assign that out to your students. So there are lots of places that your activities might come from. You can create them yourself. You can find them in the activity library for free. You can grab them on Facebook for free. You might find freebies or paid items on Teachers Pay Teachers that you like. And of course, you can share with your friends, but make sure you're sharing things that you've made, not things that you've purchased. Alright everybody, that's it for the activity library and other places to find activities. Tomorrow we'll come back and we will talk about different ways to share activities with your students.